Hello. Today I'd like to read from the Book of Virtues, edited by William Bennett. The story is Crossing the Rubicon. In Roman days, the Rubicon was a stream in north-central Italy marking the boundary between Italy and Gaul. By law, Roman magistrates could bring armies into Italy only by permission of the Senate. By marching his legion across the Rubicon in 49 BC, Julius Caesar committed himself to a showdown with Rome itself. Rome was the most powerful city in the world. The Romans had conquered all the countries on the north side of the Mediterranean Sea, and most of those on the south side. They also occupied the islands of the sea and all that part of Asia that now belongs to Turkey. Julius Caesar had become the hero of Rome. He had led a large army into Gaul, that part of Europe which now includes France, Belgium, and Switzerland, and turned it into a Roman province. He had crossed the Rhine and subdued part of Germany. Caesar's army even went into Britain, a wild and remote country to the Romans, and established colonies there. For 9 years, Caesar and his army had served Rome loyally and well, but Caesar had many enemies at home, people who feared his ambitions and envied his accomplishments, people who cringed every time they heard Caesar called a great hero. One of these persons was Pompey, who had long been the most powerful man in Rome. Like Caesar, he was a commander of a great army, but his troops had done very little to win the applause of the people. Pompey saw that unless something occurred to prevent it, Caesar would in time be his master. He therefore began to lay plans to destroy him. In another year, the time of Caesar's service in Gaul would end. It was understood that he would return home and be elected consul or ruler of the mighty Roman Republic. He would then be the most powerful man in the world. Pompey and the other enemies of Caesar were determined to prevent this. They induced the Roman Senate to send a command to Caesar to leave his army in Gaul and come at once to Rome. "If you do not obey this command," said the Senate, "you shall be considered an enemy to the Republic." Caesar knew what that meant. If he went to Rome alone, his enemies would make false accusations against him. They would try him for treason and keep him from being elected consul. He called the soldiers of his favorite legion together and told them about the plot that had been made for his ruin. The veterans who had followed him through many perils and had helped him win so many victories declared that they would not leave him. They would go with him to Rome and see that he received his due rewards. They would serve without pay and even share the expenses of the long march. The troops started toward Italy with flags flying. The soldiers were even more enthusiastic than Caesar himself. They climbed mountains, waded rivers, endured fatigue, faced all kinds of dangers for the sake of their leader. At last they came to a little river called the Rubicon. It was the boundary line of Caesar's province of Gaul. On the other side lay Italy. Caesar paused a moment on the bank. He knew that to cross the stream would be to declare war against Pompey and the Roman state. It might involve all Rome in a fearful strife, the end of which no man could foresee. "We could go back," he told himself. "Behind us lies safety. But once we cross the Rubicon into Italy, turning around is impossible. I must make the choice here." He did not hesitate long. He gave the word and rowed boldly across the stream. "We have to cross the Rubicon," he cried as he reached the far shore. "There is no turning back." News was shouted along the roads and byways leading to Rome. Caesar had crossed the Rubicon. People from every town and village turned out to welcome the returning hero as he marched through the countryside. The closer he drew to Rome, the wilder people celebrated his arrival. Finally, Caesar and his army reached the gates of the city. No troops came out to challenge him, and there was no resistance when Caesar marched into the city itself. Pompey and his allies had fled. For more than 2,000 years, men and women facing daring decisions have thought of Caesar at the edge of the stream before they too crossed their Rubicons.